Okay, got some dates here to give out. The first one goes to Muhammad from grade 2. Yes? Are you don't? Not so much. You always have some good questions to ask. And the second one goes to the sister right here. Hayat. MashaAllah. Good job. Very good kids. Very good kids. MashaAllah. Okay. So today's topic is very important. So can I get everyone to face me, like turn this way? And pay attention for just 5 minutes, please. Okay. Yeah. So it's a very important topic. I'm going to talk about the people with abilities. They call them people with disabilities, but I call them people with abilities. I've heard stories about bullies, people who bully people with abilities. I've seen politicians. Some of them hold the highest offices in some countries. They make fun of people with abilities, a reporter with abilities. You probably know who I'm talking about if you follow the news. So what happens basically when you make fun of someone with ability or disability, you're saying one thing. You're saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't do a good job. When you make fun of someone who has a disability, you're saying basically that Allah didn't do a good job. Because if you say that something is not good enough, it means that the one who made it didn't do a good job. And as a Muslim, this is something you cannot say. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in the best form, in a perfect form. So what happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us different gifts. Some of us are good at memorizing things. Some of us are good, like Bolt. He was in the Olympics. He's good at running. Some people are good at writing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, each one of us gets a different gift. And the reason is so we can complete each other and work with each other. I know a story of two people who lived in Syria about 100 years ago. One of them was disabled, he couldn't walk. And the other one was blind, but he can walk. And there are some pictures of them actually on Google. You can type the blind and disabled guys in Syria. So what happened, the guy who could walk but couldn't see, carried the disabled guy who could see. So the guy who was disabled, he couldn't walk, was on the shoulders of the guy who can walk but can't see. So one of them was the eyes and the other one was the feet. And they were walking around like together, helping each other. Right? It's a good thing. They can work together. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes a gift away from you, like the ability to see, He will give you another gift to make up for this one. I grew up in Egypt, in a culture where the people who couldn't see, we call them mubsar in Arabic, the sighted. In English they use the word blind. Most of them, or many of them, memorized the Quran at a young age. So I've known a lot of people in Egypt who are blind and they memorized Quran. So I grew up with this perception that only blind people memorize Quran. Right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted, yes, He took away their ability to see, al-basar, but He gave them basira, insight. He gave them the ability to memorize. They can hear one surah one time or twice, khalas, they memorize it. And the sighted people like us, it took us a whole day to memorize one page. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted them in a different way. One of my shuyukh when I was young, Sheikh Subhi, he was blind. So I used to go to him after school to read Quran with him. So I'm holding the mushaf, trying to make sure that I can read the passage correctly. So when I memorize it, my memorization is correct. So I will never forget Surah Baqarah. And I was reading to him, ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسيها. It should be ما ننسخ with a sukoon, but I said ما ننسخ. Because the sukoon and the dhamma in Arabic, like this calligraphic thing, they look the same. So he said, what are you doing? Say it again. And I said, ما ننسخ. He is blind. He can't read it or recite it from memory correctly, and I can see I'm reading it wrong. He said, repeat it again. I said, ما ننسخ. 10 times. Look closely, Mustafa. And I looked, ما ننسخ. And he said something that I will never forget in Arabic. After I read it several times incorrectly, and he said, يا شيخ مصطفى أنت عميت ولا إيه? He said, what's wrong with you, Mustafa? Are you blind? That's what he said to me. Of course, he was kidding. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes something away from you, He gives you another gift. How many of you know Surah Abasa wa Tawalla? Almost everyone. So in this story, a blind man came to the Prophet ﷺ. You know this story. Eventually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored this man by telling his story in the Quran. His name was Abdullah ibn Maktoum. And the good thing about the story, at the end of the story, when the Prophet ﷺ left Medina, in many occasions, although this man Abdullah ibn Maktoum was blind, he became the deputy of the Prophet ﷺ, which means that on several occasions, when the Prophet ﷺ left Medina, Abdullah ibn Maktoum became the acting leader of Medina, blind man. He became the president or the ruler of Medina in the absence of the Prophet ﷺ on several occasions. Another example, have you heard of Qalun? Qalun, one of the reciters, big shuyukh of the Quran, like Hafs, like Warsh in Morocco, Khalaf and Hamza. There are 10 famous qira'at. One of them is Qalun. His qira'at, is there anyone here from Libya? You know someone from Libya? Bahi. So Qalun is the famous qira'ah in Libya. When you listen to someone in the qira'ah and they say wahwa, instead of wahuwa, you know that this is Qalun. Bahi? Bahi. Imam Qalun was one of the top most professional qurra of the Quran of all time. 10. There are 10 qurra. So he was one of them. And he certified, he gave ijazah to hundreds, if not thousands of people in his life. One thing we know about him for sure, Imam Qalun was deaf. Couldn't hear anything. He was deaf, and he was certifying people in professional recitation of the Quran by looking at their lips. People always talk about Beethoven, he was deaf. And we have someone who gave professional recitation of the Quran ijazah, although he couldn't hear anything. By looking at someone's lips, he knows that if this person is reciting correctly or incorrectly. The last example I will give, Sister Rabia Khadr. Have you heard of the sister?
Yes.
She is very dynamic sister in the Muslim community. If you heard of the Muslim Council of Peel, a lot of imams are involved, a lot of Muslim organizations are involved. She is the president. She is the leader of the Muslim Council of Peel. And she is very active and dynamic in the community, bringing the Muslim community together. The point is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us different gifts. If He took a gift away from you, He will give you something else, another gift inshallah. And also if you see someone with a disability or a person with ability, someone who can't walk, someone who can't see, don't make fun of them. They already have a challenge in life, so don't make their life difficult. Make dua for them and help them as much as you can. We help each other, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make life easy for all of us and give us the best in this life and the best in the lives to come. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you and your families. We'll see you tomorrow inshallah. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.